course, he's bloody reading a book, and we're back on another week. Very special. And look at him. They're trying to avoid talking to me because I'm going to have to be doing all the talking today because we nearly weren't coming on the live. And we're here. We've made it. And we've got one special guest near and dear to us, Scotty Schindler, with a book release. And what's the book release? It's 5 systems of successful people. Look at that. Why have you got yours backwards? Didn't we
camera's
talk
back to
about
front.
this?
Nothing's always perfect, is it?
It always has to be the third person, right?
It's good.
Chapter 3.
I could drop it on your head. Just be careful.
Oh, thank you. Oh, look at that. That's brilliant. So we're here with Scotty Schindler. He is in the success hub where it all began. Where it all began for us because we had this one meeting of minds and a meeting of everything else. And could you tell us more about what to expect in the 5 systems of successful people? Scotty? Success!
Systems.
Find your core success.
Systems. No, anyway, I'm glad you asked. It's been 30 years in the making, like 4 years in preparation and 12 months of writing went into the book. And look, I'm super happy with it. The best bit is the people are reading it, coming back with feedback saying that they are trying to implement it in their business now and they're actually totally getting the system. So that's the best bit for me. I wrote it mainly as a legacy for my kids, but the fact business people are getting it as well is super, super, I guess, what do you call it? Gratifying, validation, motivational, rewarding. What are all those good words I can come up with, right? Yes, I'm super pleased that people are getting some value out of the book.
And Andrew was going to jump in there, but
yeah.
So let me ask you guys, what's your favorite system?
What's the favorite?
Well, you
system?
know what?
Come on,
it has to be business. Well, that's what I was just looking at. Going, should I talk about it? I've got to talk about it. Business of thirds, right?
Oh, absolutely.
No! I knew this would.
I named it after you, Andrew.
Yeah, I know it's business of thirds, but it's something that keeps coming up between Sandra and myself as well. But I guess, Scotty, for everyone that doesn't really know it out there, can you give us a bit of business of thirds, what it means to you?
Well, yeah, the business thirds is like your strike rate. We know, summer follows winter and winter follows summer, sunny days, rainy days, everything goes in cycles. So in business, how do you create your own cycle? So I created the business of thirds cycle. So, where there's a third of the time things are going to work, a third of times they aren't, which is expected, right? But the reality is with the business of thirds layer, whether you look at it horizontally or vertically, is that all our opportunities are actually in the middle third layer. That's where all the success actually comes from, is the middle third, preparing for the things that can go either way. And that's what successful people do. They don't tap into the false positives and think, oh, this is huge, or the negatives on the bottom because they're failing a few times or a few things aren't working out. They're working out how to maximize on the business opportunities in the middle third. So not the easy come, not the easy go, but the business in the middle. And that's the nutshell, I guess, for the business of thirds. I use it in several different ways. Before you guys come, I just rubbed off the board. One of the things I talk about is, I use thirds for a lot, and I also use it for, a lot of people go, well, how do I price my product, and how do I sell my product, and pricing, all that sort of stuff. So I use the thirds there, and I use, the 3x3x3 model. And that's the small, medium, and large, beginner, intermediate, advanced, short, mid, and long-term clients. And that matrix of 3x3x3 gives you enough product range and pricing to satisfy just about everyone that wants one of your products.
And to me, okay.
So anyway, I'm just saying that's the business thirds. I mean, when you read about the chapter, you'll get it. One last thing is, a lot of people say, isn't it like the 80-20 rule? And I go, well, I like the way you think because I get it. So I don't mind if you want to, say, oh, is it like the 80-20 rule? But it's actually not. It's completely different.
Again, I get a full understanding of that because of the how you've always phrased it to us, that we've got the first third that's always going to be that supportive layer, and you've got that middle part where they may need to have these conversations with you to get better clarity, and then there's the bottom third that needs to. We don't even need to visit the bottom third. It's really concentrating on the top 2/3 in being able to create big success on a lot of things. To me, what works and what still comes back to me is the 100. The
The
100.
rule of 100.
The rule 100 is great because of if you're ever trying to make a decision on many different things, the rule of 100 really gets you in that. Oh, is this something I can do in that 100 seconds? And if it's not 100 seconds, does that mean it's the 100 minutes, or is that going to be the 100 hours and so forth? And it's just something that okay, that's going to take a bit of time. So I'm not. It's not something simple that can fit into my schedule at the moment. But could you give the viewers a little bit of how or what your own perception is? Oh. We've lost Scotty there for a second, and he's back. Oh, look at that! Hello. So, yes. Hamlet.
No, we lost him again.
We've lost him.
Frozen, Scotty.
Oh, geez, what's going on? We keep swapping today.
Sit back,
relax.
Not sure. Might have to fill this one in.
It's a juggle.
I was just thinking the other day, done pretty well to like have lives, and then everyone has stayed on the call at the one time without it dropping out, especially doing a live.
Especially doing a live. I'm all right.
Do we just leave his photo up and we just talk about him?
We'll just talk about him, and he can read it.
Oh, the swell must be up.
Oh, look at that! It's the network connection has dropped there. We're having technical difficulties, so on we go with the show, Mr. Third. Oh, we're back again. This feels like it's a juggling act at the moment, and Scotty,
I think I'm back.
Yeah, you're back. You are back. It dropped for a second there.
Welcome to the live. Let's start again.
So where were we? The rule of 100.
Rule 100, yes.
Rule of 100.
100. The first 100 seconds, the first 100 minutes, the first 100 hours, the first 100 days, the first 100 weeks, and the first 100 months. You know, when you ask most people what checkpoints they use in their business, they go, I don't really have any. Well, now you do. You got some checkpoints, that fast start or that countdown. What are the checkpoints you have in your business for client retention, for product development? What are they? Well, most people don't have those checkpoints. So the rule of 100 gives successful people their checkpoints. And they all have them. They might say it's slightly different. But the rule of 100 is the checkpoints that you could use to get that fast start, countdown, and actually manage all that process. And actually, have a predictable future.
And that's always something that I've learned from you, and I thought, 100, hang on, is this something I can do right now, and is this something I can quickly complete, and if it's not, it's something I quickly put on the back burner, and something that it's really that agile way of thinking these days that we need to be moving very quickly, and it's helped along the way, and it's something that's stuck by what you've taught us. And I think we've lost him again. It's going to be one of these lives where we're going to be juggling.
Jump back in the surf. He knew it was coming. He knew where
it was. So, Andrew, what else have you found that's helped you along the way?
Well, yeah, it all comes down to systems. I mean, you talk about the 5 systems, but it's actually all one big system in here as well. So I guess, and it will even happen today. I was talking to Sandro, and some of the systems we were using. I'm like, it's some of it. It's manual, and how do we automate those? But as we go, and then I realised today we've got to work on our system better, because actually it was today. I'm like, oh, I didn't actually send you a calendar invite, Scotty. We set everything up, didn't send you a calendar invite. But how does it all? I don't know if you're staring at me. He's just frozen. Staring at me blankly. But yeah, it all comes down to what systems are we implementing in our business. And I guess we do talk about that it is all one big system, but we've touched on the rule of 100 and we've touched on the business of thirds. But Scotty, what are the five systems just as an overall?
Yep. So the first two systems require some work. So that's business judo and time duplication. The second two systems just exist. You just got to learn how to tap into them. So that's the business of thirds and the rule of 100. And the sugar and cream is an attitude. It really is an attitude system, as much as anything else. So, business judo is your ability to be able to flip negatives into positives and create win-win situations and, look at adversity. And, it's that mindset type thing, how to leverage, how to create networks, positive mental attitude. Time duplication is the favorite one for most people because that's what most successful people understand. In fact, if you ask me, it's the one thing that every successful person understands. They duplicate themselves, they duplicate their products, and they duplicate their money. Now, some people get to duplicate one, less get to duplicate two, very few get to do all three. But if you've got a duplicatable, of yourself, duplication of yourself, you've got duplication of your product and duplication of your money, man, life's a lot easier, right? Things are working when you're not. And that's what successful people do. They understand that. That's a perfect system. How you do that, like you said, Andrew, you said we've got to improve our systems. Well, you do. But how you do that, that's up to you. But you're right. Single use of time is ineffective use of time. Sometimes you have to, but if that's all you're doing, it's not effective use of time. So we already spoke about the business of thirds. We already spoke about the rule of 100 and the sugar and cream. The sugar and cream is your attitude. That's about not becoming the cream and staying sugary. It's about staying motivated and not getting RPD and CPD. That's what it's all about. So they're the five systems. Like you said, they could have been called the five attitudes. They could have been called the five habits. Could have been called the five philosophies. But I personally love systems. I was all about systems in the business. So that's why it's called the five systems. So see you, Laura, too.
G'day, Laura. How you going? Oh, Laura was reading the book in the LA airport.
LA airport.
Perfect timing. Perfect spot to read. But ReNet, you use these systems. Can you tell us a bit about ReNet and the history?
Well, ReNet was my sixth attempt at a startup. So it wasn't my first attempt. It took me 2 years to get that going and probably another 2 years to realize it was established, or nearly 4 years all up from wanting to start something and getting something going. The last time I knocked on a door to sell the software was September 2003. So, from 2000 to September. So basically by then I'd figured I had an established company, the marketing, and people were ringing me. I wasn't ringing them anymore, and the leads were coming in, and I really had a company. I had a team of people too, and everything was kicking in. But ReNet followed the same philosophy. So everything I had as a philosophy went into the product. So how do I help agents duplicate their time? Or how do I get it so that way, if they put 2 minutes in, they get 100 minutes back for free. So that's the time duplication. That had to work for clients as well, right? So it wasn't just for me. And then with the, say, rule of 100, when a property gets listed, what are the actions that happen in that first 100 seconds and first 100 minutes for their contacts or staff? What are all those things that we do, So bang, it does a window card. Bang, it synchronizes to the third parties for them. So they don't have to press any buttons twice. And it's that whole philosophy. Everything was built around it. So ReNet was a real estate software product that looked after real estate agents. And in the end, it really did do nearly everything for them. So it was almost like, they had to actually take the photos and put the photos and the text in, but that was it. Everything else happened. Marketing, window cards, synchronization of websites. It just happened.
So, sixth attempt. What were the other 5 attempts?
So the first one was a medical website, like a medical portal. So that was to do with, it was in 2000. It was trying to create something for the doctors and physios and those kind of people, the medical industry. And that wasn't that it was bad or failed. It was that the partner I had really didn't get the fact he had to go to work. It was just me. That failed after a few months. I was nearly 100 days in, pretty well exactly, and I was over, right? So I went, I'm out here. Then I tried doing local portals, a bit like a website called Local Search, if you've heard of Local Search. So it was like that, and then that didn't really take off, and then I decided to do computer networking, so people wouldn't lose their internet halfway through a call. But I went out, the very first client I got with that one, I just went, I'm not doing this for a job. I quit on my first job. I said, I'm not doing this. 100 seconds into it, I'm going, man, this isn't what I want to do to work smarter rather than harder. I don't remember if I charged those people, but anyway. And then I actually started looking for work at the start of 2001. I thought maybe I can't start a company. And not only did I not get a job, I never even got a job interview. So I kept on persisting with this internet thing. And I bought a book on software and blah, blah, blah. Next thing I did a car yard portal. I did an accommodation portal, and I did a real estate portal. And the real estate one was like selling lollies to kids, so I stuck to that one. Now, if I'd have been a bit more smarter and a bit more academic and a bit more qualified because I was self-taught, I might have actually stuck to doing all three, because all three had traction. But the real estate was the one that I found was the easiest to sell, so I just stuck to that one. So the other two didn't necessarily fail like the first three, but I had to let them go. So the ReNet was like my sixth one. So, and that's why all of a sudden I thought, well, no, I can achieve everything I want to achieve through ReNet.
If you think about it, that's like business of thirds there.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, possibly. I never thought of that before, but yeah, you agree. Who's that from the US? I can't quite read it.
Erica. G'day, Erica.
How you going, Erica?
How's it going?
Got a few there. Stephen. G'day,
Good to
Stephen.
But yeah, look,
Hello.
the book is something that, you know, I totally believe in, and no one can say anything wrong. I totally believe it's a system that almost can't fail. You know, so the 5 systems are there, and people are now implementing it. I had a call yesterday from a gentleman with his company. He's going, I've read your book. I'm now trying to implement all of them in my business. And I'm going, sweet. It's up to him how he wants to do it, but he's trying to implement it all in his business, you know, and it works. Because I ask most people, what systems do you use for leadership, or what system do you use for sales? And most people say, well, I sort of turn up and I just deal with things every day, which is fine. Smile a lot, be happy, look after people. But what system? And most people don't have one. It's a bit like McDonald's has the best systems in the world. Now, most of us don't like McDonald's food, right? But have we ever been to McDonald's?
Kind of like it. Yeah, I've been guilty.
Well, there are people that like it, but I'm just saying now everyone's been to McDonald's, but everyone really likes it. So, you know, that's the point. They have the best systems in the world, the way they teach their staff, the way they serve customers, the way they deliver food. Everything for them is about systems. It's not because they got the best food in the world, it's because they got the best systems in the world. Not only do they start that whole process, they beat everyone to the mark. They've also become the best at it.
Oh, there we go. Got an interview. Another interview.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go.
But yeah, so you know, it's been great to watch you guys grow, and you guys are doing the Core Success Network now, which is awesome. You know, collaboration, opportunities, relationships, events. You know, and creating that environment for people like this. And this is that business judo. This is chapter 1, right? Business judo. How do you leverage? How do you collaborate? How do you create a network? And you guys are doing it, right? That's what it's all about. That's what business is. That's how you work smarter.
I was about to ask you about business judo. It's like you've read my mind then, with just being able to leverage not only your time, but being able to work with many different people and get them to work with you. Because then once you're working with people, everything else becomes a lot easier, right? So that's where business judo. Can you explain more about business judo and just a little bit more about how we can leverage everything?
Yeah, look. You know, business judo, the biggest thing with business judo is it starts with attitude, which is positive mental attitude. And most people say to me, you know, how do you overcome adversity, or what was the hardest times you had, and all those sorts of things. And it was business judo. And that's your ability to be able to get a situation and not just turn it into an advantage, okay, or a positive, but to actually turn it into a complete advantage, to completely flip the narrative around. So it's not a negative anymore. You know, I'm either letting it go or I'm turning this into an advantage, but better still, a positive. I'm better still turning it into an advantage. And that's what is the number one, I guess, definition of business judo. And you do that by thinking, well, how do I create a network out of this? How do I leverage off this? You know, how do I create a win-win-win situation? In fact, I was asked a lot that people reading the book, what's win-win-win really mean? Well, win-win-win is the same as win-win from Stephen Covey. It's no different. It's just that extra 1%. It's that extra attention to detail to make sure everybody's winning. Does it make sense? It's just that. It's just that extra attention to detail. 1% more, have I considered everybody? And if you have, well, then there's more chance of it succeeding. There's more chance of success if everybody's going to win. And it's that attention to detail that, like I said, that 1%. It's just that extra layer. So, it's no good having a business where you and I win, but the consumer doesn't. So business to business is good, but don't worry about the consumers. It doesn't work, right? It's got to be a win at all layers. I like
and
what
it continues on too.
I like what was there. I'm seeing in the chat. System works always, just takes time to build it correctly. 100%. And systems are also fluid. Your system's your system. And, I also made mine live and fluid. So time duplication, for example, in the office was, when it was right time to teach staff to not have to copy paste emails, but to come up with a system for that was, when it was the right time to do it. So it was my philosophy. I trained it onto the staff. So it was their philosophy. And it does definitely take time, 100%. You don't just wake up one day and go, all right, time duplication, I'm done. No, it takes time. It takes years and years of practice. These systems don't happen overnight, but they happen here first. And as you implement more, and in the book, I give the example over 10 years, what systems can do to your business. Massive.
And it's really that overall win, and it's not just when you win again, and you keep winning with the same people, and it's something that just keeps moving afterwards. And it's once you get into this mindset of just winning, where winning is the main key, and it's finding the ways of everyone winning all the time, then that mindset just rolls on, and without even having a thought about it. So that's why it works really well.
It becomes part of your DNA to think like that. Is everybody winning? Is everybody going to be okay? It just becomes part of your DNA. It's like, what's the difference between the ordinary people and the really successful people? We all have problems. We all have things that don't go right. But the really successful people have this way in there. They've put it into their DNA, and the way they think is I'm gonna look at this situation. I'm gonna either just let it go because it's not a problem. They're going to triage it, or they're going to go, nah, there's an opportunity in here. There's an opportunity to turn this disadvantage or this problem into an advantage. But better still, flip the whole thing around completely. So there's something there for next year, long term, whatever that is. And that's the difference between successful people and the people who aren't. They don't dwell on it. They just go, okay, well, how do I flip this? How do I flip the narrative into a positive? And that's business judo. Totally business judo. And that's what separates the successful.
Well, you talked before about environment too. And that's why we've made a trek up to Success Hubs, because there's such a great environment there where you can be supportive and you can show people these systems, but also be there to support one another and have that positive mental attitude running right through that space.
Well, that's the Success Hub in Sawtell is a perfect example of itself. It does all the right things, and not everything is perfect. And if people think it's just perfect and there's some magic wand or magic carpet ride, well, there's not, right? We still have to deal with humans and emotions and rain and weather and COVID, and there's still stuff to deal with, but it's still a perfect example of itself. Making the most of opportunities, getting together, creating a network. It's still the same. So, but it is a perfect example of itself. Is there a question there about agility? In my experience, agility has to also, what is it?
Has to be also implemented in the system in order to adapt to changes.
Absolutely. And, some people, look, I'm not huge on paperwork, so my systems weren't documented on paperwork. It's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Well, it wasn't like that. The systems were about philosophies and principles, about how we ran the business. It wasn't about, being a blueprint. You have to, it's A, B, C, D. Well, no, it's not. There's the alphabet, but we want to create words. So let's just mix it all up and make sense out of everything that's happening. But we followed the systems of what we did. So you do need to be agile. It needs to be alive. It needs to be living and breathing and running on those systems, if you like, of however you're going to put them into your business. But, it wasn't like it was a check sheet system. None of the systems were with check sheets. They weren't.
And it's constantly changing too. So it's not
evolving.
something that you like. You had to be stuck with and just say, "Hey, this is something that we need to stick to." It's changing rapidly because you need to change and adapt to what's currently happening. Otherwise, you will die in your business. You won't be able to manage all the different changes. And the biggest factor recently was COVID, and a lot of people weren't really ready for that. Had they had systems and even had an idea of what you're teaching many different people, they would have learned to adapt a lot quicker.
Yeah, and that's that DNA once again about being agile, which is a perfect use of the words. Being. I say the system should be alive. They should be fluid. They should flow. Doesn't change what the system is. I'm doing too much single use of time. Okay, that's not a good system. But you just change whatever you're doing. You go, okay, well, I need to be smarter now. I need to, whatever it is, I need to duplicate my time right now. So I'm not just doing the same things over and over and over again.
And I think it comes down to that I remember you mentioning was actions as well. So what actions are we putting in place? Not always are systems, the system that we implement in our computer that does help, but also we're part of the system. What actions are we doing? And that's where you go through all the, habits, attitudes, philosophies. Is that what are what's the system in our actions?
Absolutely. It's all about actions. It's like, with goals, you write it down, you plan it, you tell people, you involve people, and you take action. The reality is you achieve goals in reverse order. You take action. You know what I mean? You actually achieve it in reverse. It doesn't matter if you never wrote it down ever. If you're taking the action, you're still going to achieve your goals.
Yeah.
But in theory, the right process is you write it down, you plan it, you tell people, you involve people, and you take action. But like I said, if you take action, you involve people, tell people, plan it out, and write it down, you'll achieve way more goals. It's always about action. It's not about your technical knowledge or your technical skills. That's great. You can be academic or whatever. It's all about your ability to actually go, I'm going to do this. What does it take? That's the difference. Action, action, action. But if you can combine it all together, you just got way more chance of succeeding and achieving your goals.
All right. Well, I think
it hasn't even given me the 20 minute
the wrap up.
The wrap up.
Well, it was it was flowing, and we've got some.
Can I just answer one more question there?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the where or how do you emphasize? That's a good question. That is a perfect question. Number one in system 1357 is people. People first. It's people over everything. You, them. It's people over everything. So where do you prioritize them in systems? Well, it starts that. So this is the 5 in system 1357. I'm not sure if you can see that, but yeah, 1357. This is the 5. I haven't written a book on the 1 yet, but at the end of the day, putting people first. It's people over everything. System 1357. Same story. I ask people what system they have in their business for either leadership, sales, or business. It starts with people first. How do you do that? And what do you do, whether it's sales, leadership, or business? So it's a great question. These systems here, you don't necessarily tell you how to do that because that's in book 1. Book 1 is going to actually talk more about people, but it starts with people at all times. And once again, how you do that, how you do time duplication, how you use the rule of 100, it's always involving people. Doesn't matter who you are or what you do. Without people in your business, whether it's staff or customers, there's no business. So it's always the systems evolve around people. You first, because you're the one that's going to implement the systems and get the success out of it. And then the people around you will also get the success out of it too. So good question. Really good question.
And we still keep going back to 1357, by the way. So we're constantly drawing all these triangles everywhere.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks, Scotty, for jumping on today. I know we had a few glitches there, but hopefully we.
I don't know what that was. Doesn't matter. We just roll with it, right? It didn't kick me out. All of a sudden it was on, then it was going, you're off again. I'm going, what do you mean I'm off again? I've got the high-speed internet. Everything should be hunky-dory. It's never done that before. Anyway.
Soylent Green is people, Christopher. So I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that means. But yeah, Soylent Green.
I have to Google that one.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, guys, it's been really good to chat. I had literally just come out of the surf, so I probably still got a bit of a surf glow on me. I'm training for a competition coming up, so I couldn't go because we were on now, so I went first and came back, and anyway, so a little bit organised. So my eyes are red and stuff. It's because I've been surfing.
No, all good. This is what it's about. It's an authentic chat. So thanks for giving us your time and coming on today.
No worries, my pleasure. And do yourself a favour, everyone. Get yourself a copy of the book, Game Changer. Absolute game changer for everyone that's read it so far. They're loving it and they're sharing it with other people. So, and let me know how you go. Let me know what your favourite system is if you do go and get the book. So,
I keep pointing in the wrong direction. I'm going to get this one day. Yes, good. Yeah, we'll let Scotty do this. That's where you purchase a copy. Get your copy there today.
And thanks everyone that came along and has been watching. Appreciate that. Great to see some chat going on. And we actually got the answer here about the movie too. So, awesome. All right, everyone. We'll rock and roll, hey?
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, healthy, wealthy and wise, and we'll talk soon.
Cheers. See ya.
Cheers.